Good evening, hello and welcome. You're with the news today. This is your primetime destination, Monday night. Let's tell you what our big talking point tonight is. The Supreme Court has set a deadline for the Kolkata rape and murder case for the doctors. I've told them to return back to work by 5 p.m. tomorrow, but the doctors are holding on. Will they end the strike, or is the Mamata government still on the back foot? Also, Rahul Gandhi in the United States is creating a stir. Says no one is afraid anymore of BJP or the Prime Minister. Has he struck the right chord or simply got carried away? We'll be talking on that too. All that and much more on the news today. But the breaking news at the moment, the Indian Medical Association Bengal has backed the continued doctors' protest in that state. The IMA says it's disheartened by the proceedings of the court and also the CBI. The IMA says the CBI has not shown any positive move towards speedy justice. The IMA also says junior doctors cannot be held responsible for deaths in hospitals. Kolkata resident doctors and junior doctors are yet to decide on resuming work. The Supreme Court today set a 5 p.m. deadline by which the doctors are expected, they say, to return to work. They want the doctors to return to work or they will face action. Doctors are holding a protest today to decide on their final move. Now, the Supreme Court has directed resident doctors who've been protesting for justice for the rape and murder victim to rejoin work. The court today asked the CBI to also submit a new action taken report by September 17, raising once again several troubling questions over the way the Kolkata police had conducted the post-mortem report 14 hours after the death of Abhaya. It also instructed the Mamata Banerjee government to ensure that all the required gadgets were given to the CISF, which has been deployed to give protection to doctors at the RaGa hospital. Our top story today on the Kolkata rape and horror from the Supreme Court.
5371.
Scathing observations by the Supreme Court during the hearing in the RaGa hospital rape and murder case. The Apex Court set a deadline for junior doctors in West Bengal who've been on strike since the crime took place a month ago. A 3-judge bench headed by Chief Justice of India D.Y. Chandrachud on Monday asked striking doctors to rejoin work latest by 5 p.m. on Tuesday, failing which they would face disciplinary action. The Supreme Court's intervention came after the counsel for the Bengal government claimed 23 lives had been lost due to the strike.
We know what is happening on the ground. All that we want to assure the doctors is first return to work. We have said that the district collectors and the superintendents of police will monitor the situation. They shall provide adequate facilities to ensure their safety and security. They must now come back to work.
The Supreme Court granted 1 week's time to the CBI to probe the entire sequence of events in the case and asked the agency to file a fresh status report on the 17th of September. The Supreme Court also questioned the Bengal government over the 14-hour-long delay in filing the FIR in the case. The judges pointed out lapses on the part of the Kolkata police prior to the post-mortem in the case.
During the course of the hearing, the court has been apprised of the, into inverted commas, challan for use when a dead body is sent for examination, into inverted commas, complete, full stop. The Solicitor General, on the instructions of the investigating officer of the CBI, states that the above challan, duly filled in, is not a part of the file which has been handed over to the CBI for investigation.
Solicitor General Tushar Mehta insisted that the Mamata Banerjee government was not cooperating with the CISF personnel deployed to give security to doctors. The Supreme Court directed the state to hand over the required security gadgets to the central forces on Monday itself.
All the respective district collectors and superintendents of police shall take stock of the situation and ensure that necessary conditions have been created for ensuring the safety and security of all doctors in the government medical colleges and public hospitals.
The entire city, including protesting doctors, were eagerly waiting for Monday hearing at the top court. but the apex court has directed the protesting doctors, those are being considered as the face of this mass movement, to resume work. Now these protesting doctors have to finalize an alternative way to keep their flame on, demanding justice but keeping the health services normal. With camera person Kirunjit Dash and Sam Sundar Ghosh, this is Ritik for India Today.
Meanwhile, the Trinamool Congress and the BJP engaged in a big battle after the Supreme Court's observations in the Kolkata rape and murder case. While Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee claimed that the Narendra Modi government was defaming Bengal over this rape and murder, the BJP claimed the Chief Minister's resignation and arrest is imperative. Listen in.
বাংলাটাকে গ্রাস করবার জন্য পুলিশের হাত থেকে সবটাই কেড়ে নিতে চান রাজ্য সরকারকে, কেন্দ্রীয় সরকারের এর মধ্যে পুরো চক্রান্ত আছে। আমি কোর্টকে কোনো ব্যাপারে একটি কমেন্টস করব না, বিকজ উই আর বাউন্ড টু অ্যাকসেপ্ট দ্য কোর্ট ভার্ডিক্ট। কিন্তু মনে রাখবেন কেন্দ্রীয় সরকারের সম্পূর্ণ চক্রান্ত আছে এবং আরো কয়েকটা লেফট পার্টিস।
विवेचना के दौरान ये साक्ष्य आते हैं सामने कि आपने लापरवाही तो करी ही, साथ में आप लिप्त थी। द पॉलीग्राफ टेस्ट ऑफ द चीफ मिनिस्टर ममता बनर्जी as well as the arrest of Mamata Banerjee could be imperative to ensure that there is justice given to the family members of the deceased and to every citizen of the country.
আমি টাকার কথা বলেছি, মেনশন করেছি, মিথ্যে কথা, কুৎসা, অপপ্রচার, চক্রান্ত। সেদিনের ভিডিওগ্রাফ প্রত্যেকে আমি নিচে নামার পরে প্রেস করেছিলেন, প্রেস কনফারেন্সে প্রেসের সাংবাদিকরা ছিলেন, আমার সাথে সিপি ছিল এবং আমার পরে আবার তার বাবা মাকেও আপনারা জিজ্ঞেস করেছিলেন, সে রেকর্ডও আমাদের কাছে আছে। আমি কি বলেছিলাম তার আগে আপনাদের মনে রাখতে হবে, আমি যেদিন যাই তার আগের দিন রেসিডেন্সিয়াল ডক্টর ফোরাম একটা অফিসিয়াল স্টেটমেন্ট করেছিল। তার 3 নম্বর পয়েন্টে লেখা ছিল অ্যাডিকুয়েট কম্পেনসেশন টু দ্য ভিকটিমস ফ্যামিলি।
একদম মিথ্যে কথা বলেছেন উনি। টাকার অফার তো দেওয়াই হয়েছিল, কিন্তু সেটা তো মুখ্যমন্ত্রী মিথ্যে কথা বলছেন। উনি তো বলছেন পরিবার টাকা চেয়েছিল, কখনো চাইনি। বরং উনি বলেছিলেন আপনার মেয়ে তো একটা পাবে, ওটা দিয়ে মেয়ের স্মৃতির জন্য কিছু বানিয়ে রাখবেন। আমি বলেছিলাম দিদি তখনই নেব যখন আমার মেয়ে বিচার পাবে এবং দোষীদের সাজা হবে, তখন আমি নিজে গিয়ে আপনার দপ্তর থেকে নিয়ে আসবো।
এটাই উনি বলেছেন যে কোনো টাকার অফার করা হয়নি।
না, টাকার অফার তো অবশ্যই করা হয়েছে। আমার মেয়েটাকে যেমন গলা টিপে ওখানে মারা হয়েছে, সব প্রমাণ লোপাট করা হয়েছে। ওটা এখন মানে আন্দোলনের গলা টিপে মারতে চেয়েছেন, আর কি বলবো।
Okay, let's first look at the question of the doctors now. What can they do next? Joining me now is Dr. Kunal Sarkar. He's been very critical of the government and its handling of the issue. And Dr. Anupam Bhattacharya, one of the protesting doctors, is also with us. Dr. Sarkar, we are now at a stage where the Supreme Court is claiming that the doctors must return to work by 5 p.m. tomorrow or face action. The same Supreme Court has also asked the CBI to submit another status report by next Tuesday. Do you believe that the doctors must come back to work now, pending the CBI's investigation, or unless justice is provided, there is no question of the doctors returning back to work?
Rajdeep, just before Justice Chandrachud gave his directive to the doctors, he had uttered a line where he said that he was aware of what is happening on ground. With all due respect to him, I would just like to say one thing, that, I think probably amongst all of us, it is the doctors themselves who would want to return to work. But the trouble is, number one, some of the most glaring thing so far is that in such an impasse, we've not really had one meaningful meeting between the representatives of the junior doctors and the highest official of the health department, which is the chief minister herself. So, probably with the best of intentions, the directive from the Chief Justice today seems a little bit harsh and abrupt. Rather, it would have been far more acceptable if the Chief Justice had directed that amidst such a heated impasse, he could have directed that the two parties sit down, the chief minister and the junior doctors platform, they have a meeting, they have a couple of meetings if required, and then set a suggested deadline that by this time we would want you to get back to work after you've had a detailed discussion and your conditions as far as practicable would have been met.
Yes, but
Because the
have the
report,
doctors been even willing to meet the chief minister or vice versa? The point
oh,
is,
absolutely.
who is
Rajdeep,
trying to break?
doctor,
Neither side seems to want to break the impasse. Both seem to. The junior
that
doctors
is
have
the
made little effort, nor has the chief minister.
that is the current that is the mother of all tragedies at this point of time. We had a similar situation a few years back when a doctor was assaulted, the chief minister intervened, there was a cessation of work for a few days. After she had intervened, whatever, some solution was arrived at. So I really think the word that we get so far, that as we speak, a general body meeting of the junior doctors seems to be underway. And so far, I hope I'm wrong. I really hope I'm wrong. But the feelers we get so far is that this kind of directive from the Chief Justice may lead to a more hardening of attitudes rather than a softening of attitudes. And I really think, this is almost implausible that so far down the line, a meeting between the chief minister and the joint doctors platform has not happened. If that was directed by the CGI himself, then I think a meeting would have happened, some of the impasse would have been broken, and we would have had, you see, time is not in the favor of the doctors. As time goes on, as a jeopardized healthcare system struggles on, time is never in the doctor's favor in a situation like this. They are also probably in their heart of hearts yearning to come back. But the question is, create the situation to enable somebody has got to take a step forward. That is the difficulty of this situation today.
Let me bring in Dr. Anupam Bhattacharya. You've been protesting, Dr. Bhattacharya, in the court today. The Bengal government tried to suggest that 23 people had died because of the protest. Do you believe the protest should be called off, or do you believe until there is clarity on what the CBI has found, what the charge sheet of the CBI, we still don't even have a charge sheet of the CBI, but till the CBI comes clear on what exactly happened on that fateful night, do you believe until then the doctors must carry on with their protest in some form?
Actually, right now, after the order of the Supreme Court, because I can say in this point that we have 5 demands. Number 1, the punishment of the culprit. Number 2, the removing of the CP, police commissioner. And number 3, the Dr. Sandeep Ghosh, who is the ex-principal of the RaGa, he has to be removed from the post. And number 3, 4 and 5, there is some points of the democracy and some threat culture. So you're
saying removing the police commissioner is a precondition. Am I correct, Dr. Bhattacharya? You're saying removing the police commissioner of Kolkata is a precondition to returning to work.
Yes, that was. And that's why we went to the Lal Bazar at 22nd September, and we stayed there at around 24 hours in front of the Lal Bazar. Then there was a discussion, and we gave a deputation copy to the police commissioner Bineet Goyal. So we have these 5 demands. So what we have got nothing. We didn't got any culprit other than Sanjay Rai, and there is no definite what CBI already did in last 26 days, we don't know. And what in the point of
what if it is only Sanjay Rai? You see, Dr. Bhattacharya, what if the CBI also confirmed that this was only Sanjay Roy? You see, there's a lot. My limited point is, you're saying that these 5 conditions have to be met, including removing the police commissioner. Why specifically the police commissioner?
Yes. Because we have seen that from the 9th August morning that there are a lot of miscreants there. in the time of FIR, there was crime scene was tampered, and in the 14th August night there are a lot of hooligans attacked in our hospital. So, and the police was at that time actively passive. So there are a lot of point that we are thinking that police commissioner is very much inactive to give the justice.
Okay.
That's why, as he is the main culprit, he is the main responsible person to tampering of this evidence. That's why we are asking of the.
So you're not waiting. You're not going to wait. You're not going to wait for the CBI status report. You know, Dr. Kunal Sarkar, it's very interesting. There's a CBI investigation on whether evidence has been tampered, whether the police played a nefarious role. All of this has to come out through that CBI report. Are we prejudging that CBI report when we are calling for the Kolkata Police Commissioner to be sacked, to resign? Or do you believe, in your view, that the Kolkata Police Commissioner today does not have the locus standi to continue in his job?
Rajdeep, with all due respect,
I have also one point
for the police, you see, the question is that the police went through a series of intentional or unintentional blunders. They tried to put up a self-defense on repeated occasions, and sadly to say, in most of the time, they fell flat. But the central theme today, Rajdeep, is that we have micro-analyzed this issue ad nauseum for 1 month. What is required today is some sensible de-escalation from either side. Our stubbornness, both the sides are sitting and facing one another with absolute unyielding, clenched kind of attitude. I would request, we should not compound our disturbance and miseries anymore. And if at all, if there is one person who can take a magnanimous step forward, have a round or two of discussion with the doctors, then I think a gradual probably doctors had the opportunity or will have an opportunity to get back to work under protest. They can get back to work, have a dharna, continue to protest. They will probably do something like this.
But you are demanding that at the very least, the Chief Minister of Bengal should reach out to the students, have a dialogue with them. That is the very minimal that you expect a Chief Minister who is also the Health Minister to do. Am I correct?
I think that will help. That is absolutely critical and vital to the present situation. That is absolutely critical.
Dr. Bhattacharya, are you open for a meeting with the Chief Minister? Do you want a meeting with the Chief Minister face to face?
I think, she probably in her press conference today, I confess I haven't had the chance to hear out the full. She did say something of that effect. So I think some agencies, some interlocutors get the junior doctors, the Chief Minister, the Health Secretary in a conversation, because unless we get ourselves engaged in a conversation, we do not get out of it. Okay. We do not get out of it, and that is absolutely critical at this point of time.
Okay, let me leave it there. Dr. Sarkar, Dr. Bhattacharya, we will wait and see whether there can be any meeting ground at all between the West Bengal government and the doctors, or have matters now reached a point of no return. 5 p.m. tomorrow is the deadline set by the Supreme Court. The doctors are meeting at the moment in Kolkata to decide their next move. We'll of course keep tracking that story. I appreciate both of you joining me. Let me turn from there to Rahul Gandhi, the Congress leader whose first US visit ever since taking charge as the leader of the opposition has become another controversy. Today Rahul Gandhi tore into the BJP and the RSS, claiming women are on the back foot in their ideology. But Rahul Gandhi didn't just flag off that, he also flagged off India's unemployment crisis, drawing a parallel with China, claiming that China was way ahead when it came to production and employment. Typically, that's triggered a big row back home in India, with the BJP claiming that Rahul Gandhi has insulted the country. Listen in.
Fear of the BJP vanished, disappeared, gone. And we saw that immediately, within minutes of the election result, nobody in India was scared of the BJP or the Prime Minister of India.
This is part of the ideological fight between the BJP and us, right? The BJP and the RSS believe that women should be restricted to a particular role. They should stay at home, they should cook the food, they should not talk too much, right? And we believe that women should be allowed to aspire to whatever they want to do. 16 lakh crore rupees of bank loans have been forgiven to 25 people. 25 people. Right? Do you realize how many industries you could set up with that? And they've just been forgiven. And whose money is it? It's taxpayers' money. Where's it come from? It's come from your pockets. So why should 20 people get this massive free gift? Why should one person, suddenly have all the ports, all the airports, all the defense contracts? What is happening when you do that? You're taking away money from people. Instead of having one business that runs all the airports in the country and one business that runs all the ports, you could have 10, 15, 20. Right? So it's all destruction of economic activity. So Devta in India actually means a person whose internal feelings are exactly the same as his external expression. Meaning he's a completely transparent being. Right? It does not mean God. So if this person tells me every single thing that he believes or he thinks, and he tells it to me, that's the definition of Devta. Right? It's the idea that you destroy yourself. Right? So to me, that is interesting about our politics. How do you suppress your own ideas? Right? How do you suppress your own fear? Or how do you suppress your own greed? Or how do you suppress your own ambition and absorb other people's fear, other people's ambition?
Has Rahul Gandhi then struck a right chord, or has he got carried away? Can Rahul Gandhi really match Mr. Modi's chemistry when it comes to NRIs? Why are leaders seeking diaspora support? Why are political battles, domestic battles, now being taken abroad? Pushparaj Deshpande is Congress spokesperson, and Sanju Verma, BJP's national spokesperson, also joined by Javed Ansari, senior journalist. Pushparaj Deshpande, explain Rahul Gandhi going to the United States and virtually suggesting that India is a country which is heading in a very dark direction, and then contrasting it with China, where he says that China's got its economics right. What is Rahul Gandhi trying to suggest there?
Hi Rajdeep, thank you for having me on your show, and a very good evening to our panelists and viewers. Firstly, even though Prime Minister Modi covertly asserts, which the BJP overtly amplifies, BJP is not India and India is not BJP, nor is Pradhan Mantri Modi let us memoir. Factual and objective criticism of our elective government is not criticism of India, not in parliament, not in media, not elsewhere. That's the first thing. The second thing is that the Rahul Gandhi is not glorifying China. He is basically just making a structural point that we need to enhance our manufacturing base and not exclusively rely on consumption. That India first needs to catch up with China, Vietnam and Bangladesh and then outstrip them. That is how we will address our employment problem. That's what he's talked about. Now, the fact of the matter is, in doing this, he's also talking about the fact that Make in India, manufacturing under Prime Minister Modi has failed. The GVA for manufacturing was 17% for 25 years since 91. It dropped for the first time for 5 years from 2016 till a low of 13% in 2021. It has picked up after that, but it's in spite of the Modi government's policies, not because of that. Now, the fact of the matter is this has happened because Prime Minister Modi and BJP focused on capital-intensive industries and not labor-intensive industries. So what Rahul Gandhi is doing is leading India by giving the nation an inspiring vision. By saying India wants to lead in manufacturing, he's signaling to large conglomerates to come and make in India. That's true leadership, not whatever the BJP is spinning. That's the first point I wanted to make. Secondly, let's objectively analyze what leader of opposition Rahul Gandhi said in Dallas yesterday. He said, and I'm quoting verbatim, that the BJP is attacking India's languages, states, and histories. All three are factual. The BJP has engineered the collapse of state governments and is starving them of funds. Similarly, BJP has removed scientific facts from textbooks. Similarly, the BJP is imposing one language, one leader, one party on India. Similarly, he also said that any Indian who understands that attacking the constitution is also attacking our religious traditions. Millions of progressive Indians agree with him in asserting that BJP is undermining India's constitutional values, our institutions, and our social fabric. Many Hindus also feel that BJP is misusing our faith for electoral ends. That is why this election, Ayodhya, Shirdi, Sitapur, Rampur, Kolhapur, Rameshwaram, Badrinath have all voted against BJP. That is also why Shankaracharya and other Dharm Gurus, mutts and ashrams are critiquing the BJP. Also, Rajdeep ji, even while criticizing the RSS and the BJP, not once did Rahul ji say that he dreams of an RSS or a BJP Mukh Bharat. He simply said that he disagreed with their idea of India and efforts to constrict India in that image.
So you're saying that Rahul Gandhi has used this occasion to, in a way, showcase his idea of India. Am I broadly correct? That this is his idea of India, his vision of which direction the Indian economy should go and which direction India's politics should go. Sanju Verma.
As well as progressive Indians.
Sanju Verma, immediately the BJP's reaction has been that Rahul Gandhi is going abroad and missing and insulting the country. Are we to say that he is not entitled to his viewpoint? You have every right to disagree with him. But why suggest it is insulting India? He is entitled to his vision of India, which may be diametrically opposite to yours.
Rajdeep, I heard the Congress panelist's point of view. He was not interjected even once. And this is a very sensible debate you're having on a very sensitive issue. Let me put forth my views and please feel free to question me and let the Congress feel free to rebut me back. First and foremost, there is this famous saying by Benjamin Franklin. Every fool can criticize, complain or condemn, and most fools often do. I'm not alluding to Rahul Gandhi. I'm not going to be another Sam Pitroda and say Rahul Gandhi is not a pappu. Whether he is a pappu or not, that let your audience judge. But I'll make a few very important points. Rahul Gandhi has every right to have his vision of India. But Rahul Gandhi has no business peddling absolute lies and gibberish. And I'll tell you why, Rajdeep. He says, look at the Chinese model. He says there is no unemployment in China. Rahul Gandhi, the latest figure is this. The youth unemployment in China is at a record high of 21.3%. Point number one. Point number two. This data that I'm going to give, you can cross-check it, Rajdeep. This is not Sanju Verma data of a hack. Very quickly in 20 seconds. GDP growth average in the last 3 years, China between 3.5% to 4%, India 8.36%. Manufacturing growth, China averaged 2.2% last 3 years. India 6.5 to 7.5%. Gross fixed capital formation as percentage of GDP, 31.2% India, 40% China, but gross fixed capital formation growing at a rate of only 1.9%, in India growing at the rate of 22.8%. Agriculture growth, China 0.1% growth only. Average growth in India 4.5%. Mining growth in China minus 0.1%. Mining growth average in India 18.6%. Services growth in China average 3% in last 3 years. In India, average growth 8.7%. And the most important point is this, because construction accounts for about 32% of China's GDP. Construction is growing at the rate of 20%, and the construction sector has seen a drop from the highs of 2021 by 55% plus. Construction sector, on the other hand, in India is growing at 12%. And I will just tell the Congress this. In 1991, we had to mortgage 47 tons of gold with the Bank of England to merely secure $400 million. Today, our forex reserves are at an all-time high of $682 billion. The entire GDP of Vietnam is $431 billion. We can buy a Vietnam and still have some change left. The entire GDP of Bangladesh is $455 billion. We can buy a Bangladesh and still have some change left. My last point, Rajdeep, please bear with me 30 seconds more. The biggest collapse of a real estate giant in the world, not in China alone, the biggest collapse of a real estate giant, and the giant is from China. This giant has filed for bankruptcy and liquidation. The name of this Chinese company is EVERGRANDE, Evergrande. Despite two black swan events, the COVID pandemic and the Russia-Ukraine conflict, not a single Indian bank in the last 2.5 years or a single NBFC has gone kaput or gone bankrupt. And the biggest Chinese cement maker has also filed for liquidation. The biggest shadow banking giant.
Ma'am, I heard you patiently. I've heard you very patiently, ma'am. I've heard you very patiently without interrupting. You've tried to give us your perspective. And therefore, Pushparaj Deshpande, before I go to Javed Ansari and understand Rahul Gandhi's politics, let's just look at what is Rahul Gandhi saying, which he hasn't. This seems to be Rahul Gandhi's theme now. Rahul Gandhi seems to suggest that the nature of India's economic reform, he has a problem with it. He believes it's leading to cronyism and monopolization of resources. The fact is that much of this was initiated during the Congress years, and many believe the BJP has taken it forward. Should Rahul Gandhi be working towards trying to give us a sense of some kind of broad commitment to economic reform or not? Is Rahul Gandhi anti-economic reform, as some believe he comes across as extremely left of center and thereby almost unwilling to accept the achievements at times of his own government of Manmohan Singh?
Rajdeep ji, actually, thank you for raising this issue. The fact of the matter is that 1991 reforms led to a certain economic path. We have reached the zenith of that economic path. We need to now start looking at next generation economic reforms and look at what has happened in the last 10 years. The corporate profits which accrued to the top 20 companies were monopolized by the top 20 companies, was 46% in 2014. Today, it has jumped up to 78%. Total corporate profits are monopolized by top 20 companies. Now, the fact of the matter is, the economic story of India is not working for everyone equitably. Something needs to change. That is exactly what he's trying to talk about. We need to invest in MSMEs. We need to talk about labor-intensive industries. That is something that we need to have a conversation about, not pedantic and theatrics. That is the first thing. Second thing, I'm actually very happy that Vermaji gave such fantastic data. I'm assuming all the data is accurate. I'm very happy that India is beginning to pick up in sectors as well, as would any patriot. I am certainly very proud. In fact, from what Vermaji says, India is clearly economically strong and powerful. But why is Foreign Minister Dr. Jaishankar saying that we are not economically strong enough to take on China? See, I have faith in my armed forces. My grandfather was in the army. So I believe that the army can take back the 2,000 square kilometers of Bharat Mata that China has encroached upon, and the 60 square kilometers that they have encroached upon in Arunachal, that their own MP from Arunachal and Lieutenant General Panag asserted yesterday. Is the army being held back by Prime Minister Modi? Is it because Pradhan Mantri Modi went to China 18 times and met the Chinese Premier 30 times? I haven't finished.
Okay.
Or is it because PM cares received nearly 50 crores from Chinese companies? Or is it because after Doklam and Galwan and Ladakh, PM Modi allowed China to become our largest trading partner? Or is it because BJP leaders have led 12 party delegations to meet Chinese party officials, clandestine visits, 12 of them since 2008? At least 6 of them happened when Home Minister Amit Shah was president and then JP Nadda was president.
Okay.
My point is, and the last thing, Rajdeep ji, just one last point. I'm sorry to be pedantic about this, but the quote that the Honorable BJP spokesperson said, any fool can criticize, condemn and complain, is not actually from Ben Franklin, it's actually Dale Carnegie. I'm sorry, I am a scholar and I have to say this.
No, that part apart. Sanju Verma, patience is always a virtue. Go ahead.
Thank you, Rajdeep. Rajdeep, we are not debating Benjamin Franklin versus Dale Carnegie, and I know it's better than the Congress panelists, but I will leave it at that. Let me take some important, points that he had to make and rebut those. First and foremost, let's be very, 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 very clear. In 1988, when Rajiv Gandhi was the Prime Minister, both China and India had the same GDP in the region of 500 to 600, $million. But it took India 60 years, 6 decades to become a $1 trillion economy. Whereas under Narendra Modi, $1.8 trillion have been added in the last 5 years alone. You're a 500 to 600 billion dollar economy, 1988, and you still, it was in 2014 that we were still a $2 trillion economy. Today we are $3.8 trillion. But the most important point is this. Rahul Gandhi says that India's 25 odd top industrialists. Very quickly, in 30 seconds, Rajdeep Sardesai's audience needs to hear this. 53 crore Jan Dhan bank accounts, world's largest financial inclusion scheme with more than 55% women beneficiaries. More than 24 lakh crore given to more than 43 crore beneficiaries by way of Mudra Yojana. 76% beneficiaries, poor Dalit and Adivasi women. Today we have more than 10 crore women benefiting every single year thanks to Pradhan Mantri Ujjwala Yojana with a refill rate of 87%. Today we have 120,000 startups and more than 150 unicorns. And Rajdeep, you'll be surprised to know, in 2014 when Prime Minister Narendra Modi took charge, we had only 350 startups. That means there has been a 34,000% jump in the number of startups that India has seen in the last 10 years. We are the world's third largest startup ecosystem, the world's fifth largest economy, having overtaken the United Kingdom, the world's second largest steel manufacturer, the world's third largest energy producer.
Ma'am, your 30 seconds. Your 30 seconds is up. I've heard you. Please, ma'am, I've heard you. I've heard you. You've, in fact, in the past also given us these facts, which I think need to also be put in the public domain. No one doubts that there has been change over the last 10 years. But Javed Ansari, 2 points emerge. One, do you get a sense that Rahul Gandhi now believes that he wants to make his politics about the Modi model versus a Rahul model? Are we actually seeing a Rahul model of which direction India's economy should go? How should politics play out in this country? Are we seeing a new Rahul Gandhi in some way post his becoming leader of the opposition? At least this time he wasn't just tilting at windmills, he was offering what he believes is his vision. Should we be looking at that more closely and carefully now?
Yes, the broad outlines of what his vision would be are now beginning to take shape. He needs to flesh out these ideas, and we need to do a fact check and on how viable, how workable that is. It is clear that Rahul Gandhi is trying to position himself in direct contrast, in sharp contrast to Narendra Modi and the BJP's politics, whether it is on the economy, whether it is in relation to our neighbors, and whether it is the domestic politics and how, the kind of disquiet that you feel in certain parts of the country.
Feeling Javed Ansari's during the elections, he spoke of Khatakhat, his promises of Khatakhat were questioned by the other side, saying Rahul Gandhi is living in a cloud cuckoo land. The reality on the ground is very different. Is there also this visceral hatred for Mr. Modi and RSS, and I use the word hatred, which means that he will never objectively look at the Modi government and its achievements, some of which Sanju Verma has listed today?
Rajdeep, unfortunately, what you say of Rahul Gandhi is also true of Mr. Modi and the BJP. This visceral hatred, this visceral dislike is mutual. Unfortunately for India, this is mutual. You and I have lived and covered politics at a time when it was a lot more, there was a lot more consensus, there was a lot more give and take. Unfortunately now, everything is par for the course. Fact or fiction, everything is par for the course, and nobody on this account, there's neither side smells of roses.
But at least what has happened is we have a debate being triggered. What seems to be happening is Rahul Gandhi is now presenting his vision. We can disagree with it, we can agree with it, but at least it is triggering off the kind of public debate that perhaps we need to listen to both sides. And maybe Sanju Verma and Pushparaj Deshpande can also talk to each other rather than at each other to find possibly that middle ground that Javed Ansari just spoke about. Sanju Verma, Pushparaj Deshpande, Javed Ansari for joining me on the show tonight. Thanks very much. Let me turn from there to our ground report today, which comes from Manipur, a state that's on the edge. In a spurt of drone and rocket attacks in the past week, 11 more people have died from multiple villages to a CRPF camp. All have come under attack in the strife-torn state. The fight between the Kukis and the Metes appears to be intensifying. Can the center now step in to bring peace back? Take a look.
Gunfights, drone bombings, grenade strikes, street protest. Manipur is on the edge. A series of attacks over the last 10 days have shaken up the state. A CRPF camp in Kangpokpi district was targeted on Sunday. This attack followed an attempt to loot weapons from battalion officers of Manipur Rifles in Imphal on Friday. The same day, there was a rocket-propelled grenade attack in Moirang area of Bishnupur district. The grenade fell on the residence of Manipur's first Chief Minister, M. Koirang, killing a priest who was performing a puja.
I was just sitting here and fortunately for me, I just went inside in my room.
You just escaped?
Yeah, luckily I escaped. So when suddenly when I reached that room, then I heard that sonic boom, and then I instantly knew that
it was a sonic boom.
Yeah, it's pretty huge. The effect was so.
But did you also spot some drones flying over before that attack?
No drones on that day. What as far as what I encountered was concerned, I was about to sit on my chair, and then I heard that particular shock wave of the particular explosion.
Thronglaobi village is 3 kilometers from Moirang. It came under attack on the same day around 4:30 a.m. The villagers were woken up by a loud explosion.
So the bomb part which hit this area, the sprinter spread all over, and since it was early morning, nearly 4:30, the people were sleeping inside, and because of this construction, their lives were saved. I have the part of these sprinters which were just lying around here, and their few parts have been recovered by the police for the investigation. The RPG could have been really advanced and highly, sophisticated, improvised, because this sprinter itself weighing more than 300 to 350 grams, and this is the smallest particle of the RPG you see in my hand.
Mentally and stressful, mentally, we are very weakened right now. अभी रात को भी हम सो नहीं सकते, दिन में भी हम ऐसे कान उठा के सुन लेते हैं कि कहीं कुछ हो रहा है. We are in a traumatic condition right now. सरकार की तरफ से भी हमारे यहाँ पे भी ये नहीं होएगा, वो नहीं होएगा, कुछ भी ऐलान नहीं हुआ है. कुछ सपोर्ट या फिर कुछ यहाँ पे गन फाइट होता है तो कुछ कमांडोज या फिर कुछ सिक्योरिटी फोर्सेस भेज के उसको सेटल कर देते. उसके बाद आगे जो होना है उसके लिए कोई सोल्यूशन नहीं निकाल रहे, और हम ऐसे कब तक जिएंगे.
The escalation in the conflict took place on September 1st. Penkautrup village in West Imphal was bombed by drones allegedly sent by Kuki militants.
How many drones did you see that day?
3-4 drones.
3 to 4 drones?
Drones, yeah. 3-4 drones, they are doing the drones bombing. It is illegal war.
From drones to rocket-propelled grenades. The fight between Meiteis and Kukis has seen an increase in intensity recently. The people of Manipur are yearning for peace that has eluded them for the past 16 months. With Ashutosh Mishra, Bureau Report, India Today.
Tensions continue to simmer in Surat in Gujarat because Ganpati celebrations were marred by pelting of stones at the Ganesh idol, triggering riots in the wee hours of the morning. The police had to resort to a lathi charge, tear gas to disperse the angry mob. 27 people have been arrested, which includes 6 minors, and the situation in some parts of the old city of Surat remains tense. Now, while that is happening in Surat, our Get Real India story comes from Rudraprayag district in Uttarakhand, where the appearance of controversial signboards banning non-Hindus, including Rohingya Muslims, from entering local villages has sparked up a controversy. The boards were put up after a recent sexual assault case in Chamoli, which triggered local unrest. Take a look at Get Real India.
Tensions are escalating in Uttarakhand's Rudraprayag district after signboards banning non-Hindus, including Rohingya Muslims, from entering local villages surfaced. The police have launched a probe into the matter.
जो पोस्टर वाली बात है, एक CLG बैठक लेकर जो है सभी को एक समन्वय बैठक की गई है और अगर कोई ऐसा माहौल बिगाड़ता है तो उसमें उचित धाराओं पे कार्रवाई भी की जाएगी.
The controversy began after a sexual assault case in Chamoli last week sparked protests and heightened tensions in the region. The accused in the case have been arrested. Villagers in Sonprayag have defended the signboards, citing security concerns.
जैसे हमारे गोंडार इतना दुर्गम क्षेत्र है, वहाँ पे ताला तोड़ के चोरी की गई है और हमारे अगस्तमुनि में गढ़वाल ज्वेलर्स वाले के यहाँ पे करोड़ों की चोरी की गई है. तो इस तरीके के जो ये है तो इसको एक सही तरीके से सही मुहिम की लोगों तक जागरूक फैलाने के लिए ये मुहिम चला रहे हैं.
The posters have drawn criticism from the Muslim community.
जहाँ तक कानून व्यवस्था का सवाल है, उस पर सवालिया निशान है. जिन लोगों ने वहाँ उस मॉब ने मुस्लिम विरोधी नारे लगाए, जिनके फोटोग्राफ्स वहां मौजूद हैं, अभी तक सिर्फ अज्ञात के खिलाफ मुकदमा हुआ है, जबकि हमारे प्रशासन को चाहिए था कि वो नामजद उनके मुकदमे करते और उन लोगों को अब तक सलाखों के पीछे होना चाहिए था.
The Congress has slammed what it calls broad brush approach to criminality.
अपराधी को अपराधी की दृष्टि से देखा जाए, उसके साथ अपराधी की दृष्टि से कानून में निहित प्रावधानों का प्रयोग करके दंडित किया जाए. समाज में दुराव फैलाकर, समाज में जो है घपलेबाजी करके, दंगा फसाद करके, ये सब का बुरा है.
As the investigation continues, the authorities and community leaders face the challenge of resolving these tensions and ensuring peace in the region. Bureau Report, India Today.